welcome to my YouTube channel. In this channel I talk about living abundantly, and when I say living abundantly, I'm not talking about material things, but everything that has to do with strengthening your relationship with Jesus Christ. We do a lot of inner work on this channel and I give homework. So if this is interesting to you, don't forget to like and subscribe. Now let's get into the video. Today I want to talk about the topic, does God forgive repeated sins? And I also want to answer the question, does God forgive all sins? This video isn't to make you feel bad, or it's not to condemn anyone. This is just to help. Like, just if you have a question, if you're like, my sin is too big, like there's not sin that's too big to forgive. And for a long time I know that I've had so much like shame and self-hatred that I felt like I couldn't be forgiven. And it's a process, just really understanding and grasping the fact that you are forgiven and that all of your sins are forgiven. I don't want to beat around the bush. I just want to say the answer and then explain it. The first question I want to answer, because this is like the shortest explanation, does God forgive all sins? Yes. That's it. The answer is yes. Now, of course you have to believe in Jesus. If you don't believe Jesus, if you don't believe that Jesus is God, if you don't believe that he died and rose from the dead and that his blood was shed for your sins, then well, but if you believe all of that, then there's no sin that cannot be forgiven. And remember Paul wrote most of the New Testament, and he used to be a Christian killer. He used to kill Christians, and he wrote most of the New Testament, and he was saved. So whatever you've done, God forgives you. This question is done. Now I want to talk about the question, does God forgive repeated sins? And the answer to this question is also yes. However, I want to talk a little bit about different attitudes that we can have towards it. Before we even answer these questions, I just want to give the definition of sin. So sin is, according to Google, an immoral act considered to be a transgression against divine law. Basically, in my own definition, sin is going against what God deems to be right, what God deems to be correct, not humans. And then I also want to quickly answer the question, well, who actually sins? Does everybody sin? Does Christians sin? Does priests and pastors sin? And the answer is yes. Everybody sins. Everybody on the face of the planet. I sin, you sin, we all sin. I was thinking about ice cream, but I don't know like how to end that. Now I want to really talk about this question, does God forgive repeated sins? Having the mindset of God died for my sins, I'm forgiven, so I can do what I want because I'm forgiven anyway. That is dangerous. But there is a difference between like purposely sinning and just being like, I'm forgiven, it doesn't matter, and struggling with the sin. So I actually want to talk about 3 different patterns that I've noticed in my behavior that might help you. And the reason I want to share this is so that you can first know that you're not alone in your struggles, and second, to maybe debunk some misunderstandings that you may have. And also I just want us to understand and reflect on patterns and mindsets that keep us stuck. There's 3 different patterns that I've seen in my life regarding sin. So there's first like a random act of sin. Then there's a sin called slow walk, which slow walk is actually mentioned in the Bible. And then there's kind of like the giving in of sin. So first I want to just talk about the random type of sin. It's kind of like sin that I really don't see coming, and I'm just like, how the heck did I get here? If I do sin, I end up reacting instead of responding to something. When I do realize this like random acts of sin, I do notice that I'm either hungry or tired. I know like, okay, I know that I'm vulnerable. And remember when Jesus fasted for 40 days in the wilderness, Satan came to him after 40 days. So he was hungry and he was tired. And so if Satan's gonna do that to Jesus, of course he's gonna do that to us. So that's one thing that I noticed about myself, is that if I'm hungry, if I'm tired, I gotta kind of be like, where is this coming from? Like, how come I'm thinking this? How come I'm feeling this way? And I'm just like, oh, you know what? Maybe I'm hungry, maybe I'm tired, maybe I just need to go to sleep because it's already 12 o'clock and I shouldn't be up anyway. So then I want to talk about this slow walk type of sin. It's so weird saying sin so much. Yeah, I have slow walk sin. I have random sin. But I don't know how else to say it. So talking about the slow walk, it kind of reminds me of the movie Temptation. I don't know if you ever seen that. But basically, it's like a slow walk is not... Think about steps. If you're going up the steps, you're not going to go from the first step to the 10th step, because that's crazy. That's insane. But you go up one step at a time. Think of slow walking kind of like that. You don't go out and just be like, you know what, I'm going to do the craziest, reckless thing right now. I'm going to sin. I don't care. You don't do that. You don't think that, because you're like, that's insane. That's crazy. Why would I like just, you know, go crazy? You won't just go straight to the 10th step, but you end up on the first step, second step, third, fourth, fifth, and then all of a sudden you're at the 10th step and you're looking back and you're like, oh snap, how did I get here? If I'm ever slow walked into a situation, it usually starts with a thought. The thing is, the enemy, Satan, and his peeps, they know us really well. They study us really well. So they know exactly what thought to put in your head, and you can decide to say, and delete that thought, throw it in the trash, or you can decide to entertain that thought and keep thinking about it and thinking about it, and all of a sudden you're doing a little bit more and then a little bit more and then a little bit more, and then you're on step number 10. That's the slow walk. That's why it's really important to guard your heart and to take every thought captive. The last category of sin, which is my least favorite, if I have to choose a sin, this one is my least favorite, and that's giving in. Life is hard. This Christian walk is hard. Following Jesus is hard. Sometimes I don't want to. I'm like, I just want to give up and just do what I want. Like, sometimes you just get frustrated and you just want to quit. During these times, it's like you might be so much in your head that you can't seem to find a way out, and you're just like, things aren't going to get better, and you end up giving in. You end up giving up. And for me, when this happens, this is one of the worst, because it's never worth it. It's never worth it. When I do give in, when I do give up, I'm just like, man, I could have held out. I could have not done that. It wasn't even satisfying. Lord, I'm sorry. And then you got to go through the whole process and repenting, and then you feel bad. And a lot of this time in this category of sin, you tend to really feel alone. At least I know that I do. But you'd be surprised how many people went through what you're going through, is going through what you're going through, or will go through what you go through. And that's why I'm open with depression and being on medication and going to counseling, because there's so many people who go through depression as well. And I'm just like, if we keep it bottled up and act like it's not a thing and act like it's all shameful, how are people supposed to get help? How are people supposed to know that they're not alone and there's things that you can do to make it better? I hope you found this video helpful. I'm gonna leave some homework in the description box. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, comment any questions that you have, anything that you want to see next, and don't forget that I love you, I'm here for you, and I'm praying for you. Bye.